Hello, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to do machine applique. So let's take a look at an applique piece that I've already done. What applique means in the sewing world is to cut out a shape onto some fabric and place it on top of another piece of fabric and stitch it down. So that's what applique is. There's many different ways to do applique. Some prefer to do it by hand, and others, like myself, I prefer machine applique because it's very difficult for me to do hand sewing anymore. So this is what I'm going to demonstrate to you today. We're going to be using fusible webbing that has a glue on it to attach your applique pattern to your fabric. Okay, so if you have a cell phone, here are the, list of supplies that you will need to do this, to do machine applique. Now you'll notice the first, so if you have a cell phone near you, go get your cell phone and put this video on pause and take a snapshot of this supply list. So when you go to your fabric or craft store, you'll know exactly what to get. All right, this first one says to get an open toe pressure foot. So I'm going to go over what that is. This is an open toe and this is a closed toe. And the difference is that the closed toe has this little metal piece that goes across here and this one does not. Now, just because mine's plastic doesn't mean that yours is going to be plastic. It might be metal, just as long as it's open toe. And the reason why you want open toe is for this. When you are doing your decorative stitching, it's easier to see exactly where you're stitching. Whereas with a closed toe, you can kind of see, but it's a little more difficult. You can still do machine applique with this, but the open toe is going to be a lot easier. Okay, the next thing that you're going to need are needles. Make sure they're sharp, 130H through M in size 70/110 or 80 or 8/12. The next thing will be thread, 60/2 or 50/3 embroidery thread. Now when you're practicing, especially if you're just getting started, I recommend just use whatever cotton thread or polyester thread you have at home to do your practicing with. Then tearaway stabilizer or thin paper. And tearaway stabilizer usually comes in rolls like this, okay? Or the thin paper, which is my favorite because it's very inexpensive. You can purchase this in a paint store or hardware store within the paint department. It's really thin. This is what painters use to mask off areas they don't want the paint to fall on. It comes in this 6-inch width as well as a 12-inch. So if you have large applique projects, you can use this 12-inch. Okay? All right, let's go on. Then after that, you want to make sure you get lightweight, two-sided, pressure-sensitive, fusible webbing. And most of the brands out there come in sheets that look like this. You'll get packages of maybe 5 or 6 sheets in a package. Okay? And then, of course, cotton fabric, make sure you wash it and don't use fabric softener. No fabric softener because the glue will not stick to it. And then make sure that your sewing machine has at least a zigzag stitch on it. Okay, now let's discuss colors of your fabric. Okay, I'm going to lay out different shades of blue here. Okay, from dark to light. And you'll notice that these two dark colors here, they are different. This one's brighter, this one's a little duller. The patterns are different. But when I lay this one on top of the other one, whatever shape I was going to use to applique onto this will not show up very well. Okay, so this would not be the best choice. But look, if you take this light blue, look how much this shows up. Okay, and even this one here, shows up really well. And on this one. This, just okay. It would kind of hide in there. Now, if you took these two lighter shades of blue, this is a darker one than this one, but they have a similar pattern. So when you lay it on top, it kind of gets lost. So it would not be a good choice. So I recommend when you're going out looking for your colors of fabric, get these little fat quarters. They're just small pieces of fabric, and play around with those. It's less money that you'll have to spend on it. Okay, now let's go over templates and shapes that are out there and available to you. Now let me get this piece of paper here so hopefully you can see it a little better. Here are some shapes, okay? They come from really small to larger. These are circles, all right? Now, you can also get flowers. Again, real small flowers to larger flowers. You can get these shapes in your fabric stores, probably quilt fabric stores. And then hearts, which is one of my favorite shapes. Again, real small to real large. Now, you don't have to spend any money purchasing shapes. You can draw your own and make your own templates. I'm not an artist, but I can draw a heart, okay? This is kind of an abstract heart. It is not symmetrical. Now, there are people out there who do like symmetrical. So then you're going to have to try and figure out a way of getting it symmetrical. Then here's a flower. Anyone looking at this will know that it's a flower. It's just a bunch of half loops connecting together. Anybody can do that. And it doesn't have to be symmetrical. And then here's a leaf. So if you want to draw your own patterns, scrounge up some cardboard from around your house, trace those shapes onto the cardboard, cut the cardboard shapes out, and then you have your own templates. Now let me go over the fusible webbing. Now the fusible webbing that I have has grid lines on one side, these little light blue lines, and then on the other side it's just plain, okay? This back paper is kind of a waxy paper, and if I try to pull it off, this is a waxy shiny part. There's no glue on this, but the grid line part has the tacky glue on it, okay? So when you're drawing or tracing your shapes, you want to draw on this grid line side. Now if your fusible webbing does not have grid lines on it, then you need to test it by trying to pull off one layer of the paper and see which side has the glue on it. So whichever side has the glue is the section that you want to draw on. Okay? All right. Now let me show you how to draw a shape onto your fusible webbing. So you want to take a piece of fusible webbing and you're going to trace your shape on it. So here I've traced a circle. I just took one of my circles from here, laid it down, and traced around it. Okay? All right. Then the next step that you want to do is you're going to remove the back of it. Now here's my grid line side. Here's the back. This is the part that has that waxy piece. This is the one you want to tear off. So you're going to take it off. Take your background, your applique fabric. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. So take this tacky side and put it on the wrong side of your fabric and press it down, finger press. And then from this, you want to go ahead and cut it out. Now, I recommend you use small scissors for small, intricate applique patterns that you've created. It'll be a lot easier because they have really fine tips on it. Okay? Then, after you've cut it out, you want to remove the grid line. So here's my fabric, here's the grid line. And if you have problems getting this backing paper off, just score it with a straight pin, bend it a little bit, and you'll see that that pops up, and then it's easy to pull it off. So go ahead and tear it off. Take your time. Okay, now the back of this fabric is very tacky. Hold on a second. Here's my background fabric. I've got right side facing up. So take your tacky side of your fabric and press it down. Now, if you don't like where you've put it, it's not permanently on here yet. You can lift it up and move it to wherever you want. And you can keep doing that till you get it to where you like it, okay? Next step is to take some light colored plain fabric. I usually just use old leftover scraps of muslin to place. Now you want to get this damp, then lay it down on top. Then take your iron and set it to cotton steam and set it down. Give it a little burst of steam. Hold it, press firmly now, and hold it for 10 to 15 seconds. Okay? And then at this point, it is permanently on. Now, if you didn't like how it turned out, it's too late. So if you wanted it differently, you've just got to start over on the process, okay? Now, the next thing you want to do is to figure out what decorative stitch you want to use. Now, if all you have is a zigzag stitch, you still want to test it. So take some scrap fabric, put stabilizer or paper behind it, because the stabilizer helps to prevent your fabric from puckering as it stitches. And test out your stitches. See which one you would want to use, okay? And then test some of those stitches out, the ones that you like. Here I've made 4 circles. This is a small satin stitch, a medium satin stitch, and these other 2 are just some decorative applique stitches that I have on my machine. Once you're done doing your decorative stitching on your applique piece, you want to take your stabilizer and take it off, and it just, in some cases, will just pop right off. If it doesn't come off very easily, just take a pin and score along, and it will start popping up, okay? It'll start coming off. All right, let me show you one other way to do an applique. You might have fabric that you like that has large patterns on it. And this one has all kinds of these abstract flowers. These you can cut out and applique onto something. Here are some patriotic stars. You can cut these shapes out and applique them on. And this one is my favorite. This one is just shouting to be appliqued. These are large apples and pears. Isn't this pretty? And then my next favorite are these pretty little hearts. Okay, so let me show you how to cut these out and applique them. All right, this is really easy. Just your steps are just slightly different. When you're cutting out a shape, you don't want to cut right on this line. You want to go out about a ½ inch and cut out around it like that, okay? Like I've done here, okay? So here it is. I've got extra fabric around it. What you do next is take some of your fusible webbing, okay? Take the back of the fusible webbing off. That's that waxy piece. Pull that off. Take your fabric shape, lay it on the tacky side, okay? Press it down. Then take your waxy piece, place it back down on top. Then take a hot iron, dry, no steam. Press firmly down and hold it for 5 to 8 seconds, okay? Then take your waxy piece back off, and from here you want to cut your shape out. All right? Now let's move on. Okay, once you've got your shape cut out, like I've already done here. Okay, so you've got your shape cut out. On the back is the grid line paper. Now you need to get that off. Again, if you have trouble getting that backing off, score it, okay, with a straight pin. Bend it, and then begin pulling it off. There you go, okay? So now the back of this fabric has tacky glue all over it. Here's my background fabric. Now you want it right side up. Place your shape down wherever you want it, press it down. Again, take a damp cloth, plain damp cloth, lay it on top. Set your iron back to cotton with steam, lay it down, press it firmly down, give it a burst of steam, and hold for 10 to 15 seconds. And now it is permanently adhered to your fabric. Let me show you what you can do with this heart shape. This is a great little pattern, okay? So while you're practicing, try doing this. Cut out some hearts. I put them in a circular pattern with the bottoms of the hearts facing into each other. I did a small satin stitch around. You can do your zigzag if that's all you have. What's neat about this pattern, first of all, it's so easy to do. You can make pot holders, an entire quilt. You can even do it on a tote bag, whatever it is you want to make. And your hearts don't have to be pink or red. They can be orange, blue, brown. Every block could be a different color. Okay, let me show you what's going to be in the next video. I'm going to take all of this information that I've just shown you in this video and show you how to make this heart quilt. And you will notice I have applique on top of applique. I've also done this decorative heart-shaped stitching all around it to enhance the heart in this table runner. All right, now to keep informed on all my future videos, click on subscribe. There's this bold word down there at the bottom of your YouTube screen if you're on a PC. If you're looking at your iPad, it might be off to the side or up to the top. Click on that. YouTube will prompt you for your email address. And the next time I have a new video, they'll send you an email. You click on this big button in the center of that email and it takes you directly to my latest video. I'm Cheryl. I am really glad you came to my sewing room. Now, see you next time and happy sewing.